Hello, my name is Albert Key, and today I'm going to talk about installing Odoo 18 on an Ubuntu server. I'm with AMA Systems, and I'm an official Odoo partner in Mobile, Alabama. So first of all, I want to talk a little bit about the different versions of Odoo, and then we'll get right into the install. There are two versions, Community and Enterprise, which you can compare at the Odoo website. And the Community Edition is free. It has limited functionality, but you can make a free website, send out invoices, a few other things. The Enterprise Edition is about $50 per user per month, and that's with unlimited companies and almost all of the apps that come with it. So there's not really any surprises price-wise there. There are really three ways to host Odoo, and one of them is in the Odoo Cloud, which is like a shared hosting environment, and that's the least expensive way to do it. Then there is what they call Odoo SH, which is the basically your own version that Odoo hosts in their cloud. And then the third way is to self-host it, where you get your own server in, like, an AWS server or a Microsoft Azure server, or even your own server in your facility, and you install it yourself. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So what most people do is connect up to their server with a utility like Putty. I have already installed the Ubuntu server, and I've got a Microsoft Azure server, and it has 2 processors and 4 gig of RAM with a 30 gig hard drive, which is sufficient for what we're doing and probably for most small businesses. Obviously, you'd want to increase that processing and memory if you have a larger business. I tried it, just so you'll know, with a 1 processor, 2 gig of RAM server, and it worked. It was just pretty slow, especially for doing a demo like this. So here's how most people connect: is they have an SSH, a Putty utility to connect with SSH. I'm going to double click on it. You can see here I'm connected to my Ubuntu server. However, the reason I like Ubuntu is because you can have a GUI on it, which I find very helpful. So I've actually installed xRDP on my server. So I'm going to connect to it via RDP right here. Okay, and now you can see I've got the GUI, and you can have things like, I have pgadmin installed, which helps manage the databases, and you also have a terminal here that we're going to open up, and this is what we're going to be working in to install Odoo. And what I'm going to be doing is following steps that I have in a Word document, and all of those steps are going to be in the description for this video. So let's get started. Here's my Word document. Alright, so we connected to Ubuntu. First thing we're going to do, and I am just going to go through this and cut or copy and paste everything into the terminal window, and I'll describe to you what we're doing as we go. This is pretty common when you're getting started installing something on a Linux server. We're just going to get updates, and we're going to install them. You always want to do that first. So as things run, I'll come in here and get the next line, and I'm just copying and pasting. So sometimes I say Odoo, sometimes I say Odoo. I called it Odoo before I was a reseller, and after I started dealing with people at corporate, they call it Odoo, so I've started saying Odoo now. But I think they accept either way. Alright, so now we're going to install Python, which is what Odoo is written in, so it needs the Python libraries to run. So we're going to do the sudo apt-get for the Python. By the way, sudo, I just learned this and I've been typing it for years, means super user do. Put it in God mode, basically. Alright, hopefully I can get through this without any errors. There's a lot of steps. So we installed Python. Now we're going to install some other Python libraries that are needed for Odoo. Here at AMA Systems, we do a lot of Odoo installs and customizations, especially in the service and manufacturing industry. And we actually install it for free for any of our clients, just to make sure it's installed right. And this is the recommended way to install a production server so that it's secure. So if you follow along these steps with me, you're going to have installed it in the best way possible. Now we're going to install Node.js, which a lot of these, just believe me that Odoo needs it. I don't always understand exactly why, but something in Odoo needs this. Okay. All right, now we're going to install PostgreSQL, which is the database application, or the database server that Odoo uses. Also, what I connect, I use pgadmin to manage it typically, but we're not going to do that today because I want you to see how you do it if you don't have pgadmin. Okay, so now we're going to change to Postgres. See, now we're the Postgres user, and we're going to create a database in Postgres called Odoo 18. No errors so far. All right, I'm just going to make the password Odoo 18 just to keep it simple. And in my notes, you can see I listed what I made the password as. Okay, surely I can remember exit without copying. I'm going to go ahead and copy this next step where we create the Odoo user. And what we're going to be doing here is we're creating an account, an Ubuntu account, and we're going to run Odoo under that account just to keep it, just for security purposes, so people can't get in there and get to the program when you're logged in as your user. Okay, so we'll go back here and exit, and then I'm going to paste this next one in here to add the Odoo user. All right, now we're going to clone. We're going to get the Odoo source code. We're going to clone it. Okay. Go in here. So far, so good. I installed Odoo 17 a couple of days ago, and it was a nightmare. I guess a lot of the libraries that it used to use have kind of gotten out of date. So this one has been a little smoother. All right, here we are cloning it. It's basically downloading all of the Odoo code here. And although we're installing Community Edition, you can easily upgrade to Enterprise. You won't lose any of your data. Okay, we've got another exit coming up. All right, now we're going to install the Python virtual environment. Basically, that's exactly what it is. You install a sort of a little virtual server inside your server that runs the Odoo code. If you don't understand some of that, just don't worry about it. Just do it. All right, here we go. Exit. Just trust me. All right, virtual environment. Everything's still good. And again, you could be, this is just a terminal window. You could be doing all this through something like Putty that we saw earlier. All right, now we're going to switch to the root super user do. I didn't need to copy that, but I will. And we're going to basically install some things inside that virtual environment. All right. Change the directory. And now we're going to activate the virtual environment. Cannot believe I've not gotten any error messages. Okay. And now we're going to install the Odoo requirements into that virtual environment. Okay. This next step, if you get anything out of this video, this is gold, because it took me a while to figure this out. Basically, the problem was you have to install this first, or this doesn't work. This is wk-html to PDF, which is the library that Odoo uses to basically render PDF reports. So we're going to do, we're going to do another. I think I'm missing something here. We need to do an update and an upgrade, I believe. Get update. Yeah, I think that's more what we need to do. This is just going to get, after we've installed some things, so let's just, do I have an exit? I don't think so. No, we're still installing inside that virtual environment. All right, so let's update. Let's found some stuff. Let's upgrade. All right. Okay, didn't do much there. Okay, here's the secret sauce here. Now we got to install. We're going to get the wk-html software here. Download it basically. I am 100% so far. I'm going to install it. We're getting close. Okay. One more step here. All right, now we exit. Actually, you had to deactivate. I think we're good. We don't need to do that. Okay. Let's copy the Odoo config file. What we're doing here, we've got to put in some values for the Odoo config file. We're going to copy the default one, and then we're going to edit it. So that's what we're doing here. All right, we got to use this stupid nano editor, which I hate. Another reason I like the GUI in Ubuntu, because it has a text editor that's a lot easier to use. But I'm doing this the command line way. Well, here we go. Brought up the editor. And you have to do things like, what I'm going to do, let me show you this. Here's what needs to go in that config file. And I'll explain this to you in a second. We're just going to copy this. And I'm sure there's a better way to do it, but I just backspace through all this to clear it out. I can't get a lot of the commands to work. All right, now you can right click and click paste. These cut paste don't seem to work. All right, so dbhost is a local host, which means this computer default port for the Postgres is 5432. Our Odoo user is Odoo 18. You remember the password's Odoo 18. Here's where the add-ons path is, which is if you add additional add-ons to Odoo, it puts in there. And we've got a log file here too that we're going to have to set up in just a second. So once you have that, down at the bottom, you want to do Control-O to save it. It says file name to write, press enter, and then Control-X to exit. All right, that's done. Now we're going to add some permissions to the Odoo 18 user so it can read this file. All right. Batting 100% right now. All right, now we're going to create this a folder for that log file that we specified in the configuration. And paste this here. All right, now we're going to create a system service file. What this does is, without this, every time you reboot the server, you would have to manually start Odoo. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a system file so that the server starts Odoo whenever it boots up. So, all right, we're back in Nano. This is what we need to put in there. I'm not going to explain this, but just trust me on it. Right click, paste, Control-O, enter, Control-X. Okay, done that. Now we got to give Odoo 18 user permissions to read that file. Okay, we're getting close here. All right, I think we can go ahead and start Odoo. If we rebooted it, it would start, but since we're not rebooting, go ahead and start it. Okay, am I ready? Yeah. All right, so we're going to get into Odoo now and see if it works. If it does, this will be successful. So I'm going to open my browser on this server. Now, since we're on this server, I'm going to use localhost. If you were trying to access this remotely, then you would have to open port 8069 on this server, and then you could hit it. You know, you would put in the IP address of the server :8069. But since we're not doing that right now, 8069 is the default port for Odoo. Success. There we go. Well, thank y'all very much for watching this video. I'll have some in my notes, also some information on installing xRDP in the virtual desktop so you can get this GUI on Ubuntu, and also on pgadmin. So If you need any help installing Odoo or need some consulting for your business, we do sales support and custom development for Odoo. We've been doing it for 25 years. Thank you very much.